Hi, welcome to Virtual Meet the Teacher for your students' IR math class. My name is Robin Pagington, and I'm sorry that we can't do this in person, but I hope this helps give you a little bit of information about the class. And then after viewing this in the syllabus, feel free to let me know if you have any questions or concerns. All right, a little about me. I'm originally from Jacksonville, Florida. I graduated from Jacksonville University with a bachelor's in engineering mathematics, and then I graduated from Georgia Tech with a master's in mechanical engineering. During the time at Georgia Tech, I worked for a professor for 2 years doing engineering work in a lab. And during that time, I kind of made the decision that I wanted to go the teaching route rather than the engineering route. I'd worked as a camp counselor in North Carolina for 3 summers throughout college. Just really enjoyed being with that age student and kind of like being up, moving around. I liked math and science, so I just decided being around people that I wanted to pursue teaching. So I had taken some teaching courses throughout college as electives because I knew I'd want to do that at some point. But I just decided that at that time was the time to do it. So I ended up moving to Indiana during that time frame, and I began teaching in 1999. During those first couple of years of teaching, I was able to complete the coursework to actually get my teaching license. I was on a limited license those first couple of years, and then was able to get that full license by taking some courses at IU Kokomo and IUPUI. Since then, I've taught at Tri-Central High School, at Ivy Tech Community College for 5 years when my kids were little. I was able to do that part-time, and then at Northwestern High School for 3 years. And then a couple of years ago, my family moved down to the Westfield area from Kokomo. And this is now my 3rd year at Westfield, and I am glad to be here. Over the years, I've taught Algebra 1, Geometry, AP Calculus, IR Math, some different college math classes. And I also, at my first teaching job, taught some science courses, physics and integrated physics and chemistry. So I've done a lot of different things, but probably the Algebra 1 and Geometry is what I have taught the most. I am married, and I have a daughter who's a junior at Westfield and a son that's a freshman. At Westfield, I'm also a cross-country coach and track coach. I'm an assistant for both of those, and I'm also the academic Super Bowl sponsor and a Girls in STEM sponsor. And, I highly recommend that your students get involved in some of the different clubs and activities that we have available at Westfield. They'll start hearing more about that soon. And it's just great to get involved, get to know people, find some other people that are interested in things that they're interested in. In my free time, I love to run when I get a chance and spend time with my family. And as a family, one thing we really enjoy doing is camping and hiking and visiting national parks. We drive our minivan all over the country. A little bit about IR Math. At first, we're going to focus on preparing for the ASVAB military test on September 11th. If the students pass that test, then they probably will not have to retake the ISTEP test in November, which would be a good thing. The ASVAB test has an English and a math portion, and it's lumped together in one. So for ASVAB, it's a little different than ISTEP. You can't just pass math or just pass English. The score focuses on both. I will say I think the math is easier than ISTEP. It's mainly basic math, but it is word problems that can get a little tricky. So that's why we need to practice those. The other thing is that it's a time test, and students cannot use a calculator for that test unless they have accommodations. So that's a lot of what we need to practice, then being able to decide quickly what math to do and what the word problem is saying, and then be able to take care of that math quickly. So we're having to practice a lot of the students are really used to using a calculator all the time, and we need to practice not using that sometimes, and so that they can do that quickly. And I am going to give them resources to practice the English. Since my course is a math course, I can't really spend a lot of the time doing English, but I'm going to start posting some of the English practice materials online. And I encourage them to do those on their e-learning days, just so they are not just prepared for the math portion, but also the English portion. After the ASVAB, we will focus on practicing the algebra skills so the students can be successful on the ISTEP test in November if they need to take that. We'll get the ASVAB scores back within a couple of weeks. But then we will need to focus on preparing for that I-STEP in November. All right, a few other things that I'm looking forward to is having your student in class and getting to know him or her, helping your son or daughter learn and grow as a student and in his or her math abilities, and sharpening your students' reasoning and critical thinking skills is always good. And also helping your student become more confident in their math abilities so they can be successful in the ASVAB and I-STEP, as well as future high school and college tests. In terms of grades, the grades for this course will be on total points. Those points may come from notes that we do in class or classwork. They want to make sure they show work on e-learning, Delta Math online assignments, and on quizzes. So they just want to make sure they're doing everything that I'm asking them to do, that they're showing work, participating in class. On the Delta Math, they can click to view an example if they're not sure what to do, and they can try it. And if they miss it, it's going to show them what they did wrong and then give them a new problem. So they can always have the opportunity to get the full points on those Delta Math assignments. The trimester grades are 80% the term grade and 20% the final exam. The assignments are, oops, I went too far. The assignments are given daily, so students get the practice on the material. And some of the assignments we'll do together as a class, and some the students will do on their own. And then short quizzes will be given to make sure students have mastered the skill. But in this course, retaking the quiz will be an option if needed. I have different versions of the quizzes that I can give them if needed. But hopefully with the practice, they will do fine the first time. How to be successful. So as the student, they need to be responsible for their own learning and make the best effort in the class, whether they're doing something at home or in class. Participating in class is going to help them retain the information and get it to stick. Doing the entire assignment every time and doing it on time, paying attention to those due dates, and trying every part of every problem. Also making sure that they show work and explain their answers when asked. That's a big part of the I-STEP part of the questions. Correct the assignment when we go over it. Sometimes we're going to do problems together, and sometimes I'm going to ask them to try a few problems. And then when we go over them, they need to, correct it and then ask questions if they don't understand what they missed. When they're absent, they need to stay caught up with the class. Everything we do in class is on Canvas, so they need to stay on top of things and not get behind. They don't want to wait until they come back from being absent to say, hey, what did I miss? Because everything's on Canvas. And especially if I'm only seeing them 2 days a week, they just need to make sure they're staying on top of things. If the student needs help, they can ask me questions in class. They can message me with questions, or they can get on my Zoom help sessions. They can also request a Zoom help session during fifth period on a Monday through Thursday during my prep period. I can get on for 15 or 20 minutes and help them if needed. Or I will set up Zooms on the Fridays during those e-learning help sessions in the 12:30 to 3:30 range, and they can get on those days. How parents can help. First of all, it's just knowing that struggle is okay and math takes time to learn. Math comes really easy to some people and it's not so easy for some people, but I will say everybody can do the math. They just have to work at it. So the quote I have here by Suzanne Sutton says, struggling in mathematics is not the enemy any more than sweating is the enemy in basketball. It's part of the process and a clear sign of being in the game. And we definitely want these students in the game and participating, and like I said, feeling confident and feeling like they can do it. Another thing you can do as a parent is just to encourage your student if they are, frustrated or it's hard for them. Kind of resist the temptation to explain the struggle as genetic. Don't say, "Well, I was bad at math, so you're bad at math." That's not true. The students can do it, but encourage them that their effort will pay off if they work through it and if they use the resources to get help when needed. And that's the third thing I have here is guiding your student to the resources. Sometimes if they're frustrated, then they forget about those resources, but that might be an encouragement if you remind them to ask questions in class or to message me if they have questions. They can even take a picture of their work and send me a picture and I can look through to help them find their mistake and help them, you know, realize what's going on if they're stuck. They can also call or text a friend to help, or they can view examples. Like I said, Delta Math has a lot of great examples to help them out. And the last thing I have there is to get on the Zoom calls to ask questions. If they're having trouble with the Delta Math, I can help them work through one of them, and then they can work through another one, something like that. Um, the syllabus, please read through the attached syllabus to find out more information about the class. You can either click on it in this presentation, or I'll have a separate tab on your student's Canvas homepage that you can click on to view it. And on the last slide, I will have a Google form for the parents to fill out if they have viewed the slide presentation and read through the syllabus. I'm going to click on the syllabus here just so I can show you what it looks like. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you for time's sake, but just to kind of show you what different categories there are here. So I have the daily supplies, the late work policy, and the absent policy. I also have some information about Canvas, some information about grades, and some of my expectations for the students. I have here some things for the students to avoid. There's a Remind texting service that I ask the students to sign up for, and as a parent, if you'd like to sign up for it as well, you may. There's some information about students communicating with me and parents communicating with me. And there's also some classroom information, some technology information, and some homework classwork information. And the last things I have here are assessments and office hours and just a quick little message to them. So again, if you can read through that, that would be great. And last couple slides of the presentation here. It says for Canvas, your student's IR Math Canvas homepage has the following resources. So ask your student to show you around the Canvas homepage to make sure they know where everything is. And, one thing on there is my contact information, as well as my office hours and my Zoom help session information. The syllabus is there that they can click on. The Canvas messaging to contact me is a great way to contact me. There's a button right on there. And there's a daily agenda of what we'll do in class each day on the main homepage. And there's also a daily agenda of what students need to do for e-learning each e-learning day. And there's also a column that shows what is due each day. So again, if you can look around your students' Canvas homepage and ask them to show you around, that would be helpful. And the last slide is just my contact information. So feel free to contact me if you have any questions. Again, my name is Robin Padgington, and my email is there, my phone number is there. And then the last thing I ask is that you can please complete the attached Google form once you have viewed these slides or watched the video and read through the syllabus. And I just thank you for your time and your partnership. I look forward to working with you and your student this trimester. And again, thank you for your time.